What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLORIan who wants today a brand new video. And today what I want to do is talk about The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2, Episode 3. And maybe, just maybe, some possible connections to Fear the Walking Dead Season 7. So Season 2, Episode 3 is probably the episode that has the most going on for, this series so far, or at least Season 2 so far. Mainly because it really moved the story and the plot the most, especially with reconnecting all of our characters, such as, Hope, Iris, Felix, Will, Percy, Elton. If anything, Silas is probably the only one so far that has not been reconnected with the group or even knows any of them are alive or where they are at all. And this episode had some hilarious moments, and especially with Elton and Percy basically robbing the people with the cart. That was a really good point in the episode in my opinion, especially when Elton's pretty much holy shit, it was just some turnips after that character threw an axe at him. And basically Percy's whole personality throughout the episode was really good in the comedy with that. But basically this was the most enjoyable episode because everyone felt like they had personality. Because I'll be perfectly honest, in Season 2 so far, it feels like everyone's been really dry with performances and just everyone's just been acting in general. And not even acting as in performances and everything, but just acting as in everyone's just oh, okay, yeah, well, maybe we'll get something done today. No one's really been giving this exhilarant personality and everything. Everyone's just been kind of just who gives a shit? Which this episode had the best of everything and everything. Like I said, best comedy, best conflict. And it was also very interesting exploring Hope's new life and everything inside the CRM, with basically her going to class now and everything, her meeting a bunch of new kids. And in this episode, we've been finally able to explore Hope's intelligence and true smarts, because we haven't really been able, Hope's been hailed as this very smart scientist and everything. Hell, that was the whole reason she was basically taken from the, I think, Omaha community, and why thousands and hundreds of thousands of people had to die, which is just to get Hope to the CRM community. But so far they haven't really been showing her intelligence up until this episode. We're basically in a scene when she's in a classroom and everything, in a science classroom. She finally shows off her intelligence of knowing a fuck ton of shit about science and everything, and even possibly stuff about the cure towards the Walker virus, which is very interesting. And especially the character, fuck, I can't remember his name and everything, but it's basically the other character that Hope was talking to and interacting with throughout the episode and everything. I really liked him, and he was also gave off a really good personality, and I really did his performance and his character throughout the episode. But basically Hope's new life at this campus colony and everything, basically interacting with kids, going to class, and showing off her true intelligence in the science world. And then even the parts of the episode when she went to the party and just interacted with people, it was just so good to finally see her do something and really have a personality besides just, oh, we gotta get to Iris to see her, we're bad people, man. It was just so nice to see and everything. I really enjoy this episode because, like I said, just gave every single character just personality, and just seeing her have fun with people like that kid and a bunch of the other kids and just partying and playing, especially Jenga and all of that, was just so fucking fun. And speaking of personality, I fucking loved Elton and Percy throughout this episode, and them with the other characters that they found and everything and tried to steal from. Their plot points were really funny, and just I do really think that both those actors really bounce off of each other really well, especially Elton and Percy, because they're just really good at comedy and everything, and just being really funny and also being serious when they really need to. Especially like I said before, when they were trying to steal from the car and they were we're not con artists, what are you talking about and everything, and then Elton's run, and then pretty much he's holy shit, it was just a turn up. That was just fucking awesome. And moving on to the point I'm pretty sure a lot of people are waiting for, which is the Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 connection. So if you saw Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 Episode 1, if you haven't already, definitely go check it out. Then you would have known that a lot of people pretty much are wearing gas masks on the show and everything because of obviously the nuclear radiation that's gone throughout the wasteland after Teddy's nukes. But at some point in the Walking Dead World Beyond Episode 3 of Season 2, when our characters Elton and Percy were being escorted and taken somewhere by these two new characters, these two new characters basically put on gas masks and everything, and as they were going through a zone that was hazard zone and all these toxic signs and everything, and the gas masks in general. Now it was revealed by the end of the episode and everything by the girl that was taking them there and everything the whole time, that basically there was no toxic zone or anything, nothing to really worry about. I was just trying to scare Elton and Percy. But it makes you really think where, obviously Fear the Walking Dead and the Walking Dead World Beyond are going to eventually collide and have some form of connection, as I did mention in another video that I will make sure to link down below. But even though there is no radiation or anything inside this area of the show, it does kind of make you think, where did they find the masks that that they used in that sequence of the episode? And also all those hazard signs, they have to come come from somewhere. Maybe it's the area that, like, you know, was, like, you know, maybe the signs are from, like, you know, the Fear the Walking Dead, like, you know, area and everything, and maybe those were used to, like, you know, warn off people in the Fear the Walking Dead world, but then they took them and everything they used to scare people in their kind of, like, you know, state and communities and worlds. I don't know, just in general, gas masks and everything in toxic areas and having to wear masks in general really does scream Fear the Walking Dead season 7. I feel like that was the intention, was to get us to go, holy shit, that kind of reminds me of Fear the Walking Dead. And it's kind of interesting how both those episodes premiered, like Fear the Walking Dead season 7 episode 1 premiered on the same night that happened in episode 3 of The Walking Dead World Beyond. And like I said, this episode, when, like, you know, everyone's finally connected and everything, like Huck, Felix, Will, Iris, Hope, Elton, Percy, all of them being connected was really nice to see, because like I said, it finally feels like the show was getting the fucking, like, you know, on the road, which is really nice to see, because episodes 1 and 2 kind of felt like, you know, nothing was really happening. Throughout this episode, there was some really bad flashback editing that, like, you know, happened in episode 1 and 2, but I feel like it was really especially bad in episode 3 and everything, how, like, basically they think we don't remember incidents that have happened in, like, you know, the past seasons or the past episodes in this season, and it just leads to some really, like, you know, shoved in edits and everything of past events. Even some stuff that has happened in this season, it's just like, holy shit, we're on episode 3. I don't know, I guess the flashbacks are integral to, like, you know, show how our characters are feeling and why they're acting the way they are in the situations, but I just don't like the editing on it. Then the ending of this episode and everything obviously teases a lot for the, like, you know, the season going forward in episode 4 in general, when basically Huck brings hope and everything and a bunch of other CRM soldiers towards, like, you know, the community that, like, you know, Felix, Iris, Will, and now, like, Ellen and Percy are staying at, and basically Hope demanded that, like, you know, Huck takes her to that community to see Iris and, like, you know, Felix and all of them. And basically the ending of the episode is, like, you know, Felix and Huck meeting after the first time after the, like, you know, season 1 finale fight and everything, which will definitely, like, you know, be lots of tension. And also Percy and Huck coming, like, you know, in contact and everything after Huck shot him in season 1, which will be very interesting, especially how Percy looks at Huck with these, like, death and murder eyes and everything, and he even has a knife behind him, which I really can't wait to see how that plays out in season 2 episode 3 or episode 4. I'm just personally really excited to see how that plays out. I think, so obviously in season 2 trailers, I think we do see, like, you know, Felix pointing guns and everyone pointing guns at each other in the woods out at night, which is when Huck and Hope do come to, like, you know, visit the community and everything, and Felix and Will and Percy and all of them at night. And there are shots in the trailer for season 2 of, like, you know, Percy pointing a gun at someone in the night in the woods, and a scope, like, you know, being on Huck and everything, and, like, you know, Felix, like, you know, in the woods with Huck. So I do feel in episode 4 shit is really gonna go down with, like, you know, in the woods with some form of fight between, like, you know, Percy, Huck, and Felix, and maybe some other CRM soldiers, maybe some other characters, which will be really cool. And like I said, it really feels like shit is really starting to hit the fan and finally move forward in the show and everything, and the story's finally starting to go somewhere. But that was me kind of talking about episode 3 of season 2 of The Walking Dead World Beyond and everything. I guess you could say even kind of my review. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below on this episode if you guys did check it out. Which, like I said, if you didn't already, I do highly recommend, since there are some really cool possible nods to Fear the Walking Dead season 7. And just in general, if you did think this season was really slow so far and you feel like you were starting to fall off, I do highly recommend checking out this episode, since it's really good comedy, really good walker design also, which is something I really didn't mention or anything. There's some really nice looking and colorful looking walkers and things that they do with the walkers in this episode, especially when they're putting the flowers on, like, you know, the walkers' eyes and everything, and just, like, you know, the grass and, like, you know, forestry growing out of the walkers just makes them look really nice and colorful and just really cool in general. But yeah, there's some great comedy, great character moments. The story's finally moving forward, and, like, you know, there's a really good cliffhanger into episode 4, which will be, like, you know, really good in my opinion, especially after this great episode. But yeah, that was all for today. And technically, like I said, my review for The Walking Dead World Beyond season 2 episode 3. Like I said, make sure to leave your thoughts down below on the episode if you guys did watch, and like I said, if you didn't, I highly recommend you go check it out for yourselves. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more latest in the Walking Dead universe and anything, and more reviews, breakdowns, explaining videos and stuff like this, and anything like theories and all of that. And yeah, see you guys later, my amigos, and peace out.